Hi, Luke. Thank you so much for joining me in this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I have a cup of coffee with me as always. I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well as well. It's a pleasure having you on the show as well. And yeah, we have an interesting talk. We have so a lot of parents and everyone right now is an uncertain moment. Like whatever is happening in the school world, it just like a different phenomena is going on in both world. Either it could be US or UK, and the way they're teaching our children is just gone next level. So you probably in there, like I've been a primary school teacher myself, and I'm seeing like a lot of change happen the last 4 or 5 years before I left the schoolwork. So, and you guys helping the parents and all the children, like teaching them like how they can live different way, like what's their culture and their religious views in their like a home and coming bringing together. And also like you have like interesting background, you come from a military yourself, and there is a lot of discipline and a lot of teaching in there as well. So I'd love to know more about like how did you come up with the company you have right now where you're helping them parents and children.
Yeah, thank you for all of that. So these16things.com is where we would ask people to go to find some ideas, but um, the core idea is our teenagers are given cell phones that we pay for, parents. We pay for them and we push them on kids like they're drugs. And then we usually don't have hard, tough conversations. Then we get a teenager that leaves the house and they don't know what to do with their lives. They believe what the culture is pushing them, what they got from teachers, what they got from TikTok, and they walk away from our faith. They don't go to the synagogue, to the mosque, to the church, and we wonder why that is. And so we're trying to help encourage the parents. So parents want to do good. You want to do good with your 2 year old. I want to do good with mine. I think every parent wants to, but sometimes we don't know how or we feel disqualified. So yes, military background. I spent 20 years in the army, and in 2017, 6 years ago, when you were getting out of the public school, I was getting in. So yeah, so now I teach 12th grade, so I teach 16 and 17-year olds, and um, it's a mess. It's a mess with a lot of kids feel lost, and a lot of parents have thrown their hands up. They've given up. They don't know what to do next. So we're trying to help them out. That's our goal.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like it's not easy for like every parents to take their children out from the school and keeping them in the school in the same time. Like a lot of people, they have their job to attend and also like financially as well, like everyone like well off, like teaching them a home, so and keeping them in the same time, like there is their children and they don't have the kind of brain to make a decision. So obviously they're not making any career decision yet, because if you want to be allowed for a job, I think in the US about 14 years old or 16 years old you have to be get a
Yes.
job. Same in the UK, like if you want to get driving license, if you want to get like a work in a job, even though McDonald's, you have to be 16 minimum. Or like if you want to buy alcohol, you have to be 18, or certain alcohol, you have to be 21 years old.
When
And
I
even though you're not allowed to get paracetamol, normal
when
painkiller,
I
you
was
have to be
18,
18.
when I was 18 years old, the first
Yeah.
place the army sent me was South Korea.
Okay.
And I was stationed in South Korea and I'm thinking, I don't want to drink, but in America you have to be 21 years old to drink. And in
Mm.
Korea it was 20. So here I was, an 18-year-old, ready to give my life for my country and I can't have a beer.
Wow.
So yes, we set these limits, right? We set these limits, but now in America it's very confusing.
Yeah, that's kind of a really interesting thing as well. So you're not making like a big decision with your life yet, and then you come along with it. Like you have to make like a tremendous amount of decision, changing your gender, changing your things, changing your identity, like your culture, your religion, and you haven't figured out your life yet. You don't know who you are yet. And then them kind of big thing is like making that kind of decision. I'm like I just turned 29 yesterday. Still I'm figuring out like who I am,
Happy
where am
birthday.
I heading to. And like you asking like them 10 years old, 12 years old teenagers, like they have to make a decision. So and also like a lot of teaching in there. they're not teaching you your basic life skills you needed in order to survive in a real world. They're not teaching you how to do better taxation, how to pay your bills, how to apply for certain things, things like that. You're not
Yes.
getting all of them basic things of life, like, you know.
Yeah. So on my teaching license, I'm licensed to teach grades 7 to 12, U.S. government and citizenship.
Mm,
I am not licensed to teach gender ideology, and I am not licensed to teach sexual orientation. My licensure is in government and citizenship,
yeah.
but it amazes me how many teachers think that they know better than the parents do. You're absolutely right. So for anyone listening, imagine this: your teenager comes home from school and they have been fed culture, 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 and you don't know this.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's in their head. So here's what we would encourage people to do on our website. So our website, it comes from a Christian perspective. But if somebody follows any other religion, they have their own faith at their home. So let's focus it that way. If they have a faith at their home, they don't want their kid to be 18, leave the house, and leave their faith because they don't know why they stand for what they believe in. And the parents are confused. How did this happen? So
Yeah.
we're trying to be very intentional at our house. Um, so some of the examples on here would be how to negotiate with people, how to interact with people, how to stand on your faith, how to find friendship and intimate relationships.
Mm,
Let's focus on that one for a moment. If we give our kids these cell phones and we pay money for it, and
yeah.
we say, "Hey, young boy," our 16-year-old teenager, "go on the internet and do anything you want." Well, pornography is open to anybody that wants it anywhere you live.
Yeah.
And this is not about the parents. We're talking about the kids now. And so, how do we sit down with our teenage boy and our teenage girl and say, these are the effects that pornography will have on you in life? It will affect your ability to have a boyfriend or girlfriend. It will affect your ability to have children. It will affect your entire intimate life. Who's having that conversation? Is it the teacher? No. Is it the TikTok? No. Is it the television? No. So we know that the parents need to have the conversation. So we just give them some tools.
Mm,
So as somebody went to the website on a Monday morning and on a Thursday morning, they would get a newsletter. And every week we kind of write up what we want to push out. And hey, sometime during the week, sit down with your kid and have a conversation about this. We'll maybe give a YouTube video that we make to put it out there. That's what we do, man.
yeah. And how do you like help them parents for like like them kids getting influenced by school, or they're like wherever they hang around at school, or different platform like a social media platform, and obviously parents wants them to like believe in a certain faith, or like believe in the certain core value they have created. But obviously as soon as they're getting out of the house, or like they on their phone, they get fed by like something else. And obviously which one they gonna take on, they probably gonna
Yeah,
take on like from the outside one, because
that's
that
right.
that seems to be like a nicer and like a more like interesting than like why you obviously seen all of your life. So how do you like keep them interested as a parent to your children, like rather than like from outside noise, they can be more interested like what's your mom and dad saying, or like your siblings saying?
That's a great question. So in the military, I remember a few significant emotional events. I mean, they were really big things that happened that I will forever remember. I'll remember what it smelled like,
Mm,
what it looked like, what something tasted like, all of my senses. I don't remember what I had for breakfast 3 days ago, but I will remember events from 30 years ago. So, Russell, I think that us taking our kid at the table already and saying, sweetheart, you already know that I love you. Now let me show you how much I love you. This is important. Let's talk. We are creating significant emotional events. You may disagree with your teenager. They may
yeah.
yell at you and disagree, but they're going to walk away from the table remembering my mom or my dad loves me so much. Okay, so we have that. The next biggest thing that we really try to help parents with is giving the kids why. If we tell our kid, you need to go to mosque every week, you need to go to church, you need to go to this, you need to go to this and do this, they will. But when they're 18 and they're out of the house, they won't. So if we help explain the why, you said social media, right? You said
Yeah.
that. If we can show them why social media has its hooks in teenagers, they don't want to be part of that. They don't want to be a victim. If we can show them what happens down the road and why we care about them, they can make good decisions when they're 20,
Mm,
when they're 25. But if we don't explain the why to them, teenagers like to rebel and do what teenagers want to do. But if we can explain the why to them, we
yeah.
can make some progress, man.
Yeah, so true. Like my dad like did the same way. Like when you try to teach someone like they're already 14, 15 years old, that gets really, really hard. They just overrun and they're not gonna listen to you. That time you're trying to build some relationship. Probably one in every 1,000 kid, probably they're gonna make the change, or like someone gone through really, really hard time, like they realize their mistake and probably gonna come back. Other than that, like you have to start very early age, like age 5 and 6, build a kind of relationship. It's not like you have to be strict with them. You have to be friend with them, be gentle, so they can tell you like if they like someone, they can tell you like what happened to school, every single
Yeah.
detail. Either could be a mom or could be a dad. So my dad and me, like we both was really, really close, and he never tried to explain to me because I'm already coming from like a traditional background. I'm originally born in Bangladesh, there where you get abused by your parents or you get abused by your teachers. They beat you with a stick and everything. But with my household, my dad never did that. He never slapped me or never swear at me or anything like that. So all the time he used to, after work, after we have like family dinner together, then we go outside, sit down in a balcony and look at the sky, and he tell me stories like different kind of stories, and with them stories there used to be a lesson in it. So that way, like he used to teach me like how I need to be doing something. So he used to smoke, he used to be a really bad smoker. He used to have like 1 or 2 packets a day, easily. So and he had a lung cancer as well, he died with it. So he told me like, look, you can have like a cigarette. It's up to you. I'm not gonna be there, right? You can hide it and you can steal it from me and you can have it as well. So then I was about 9, 10 years old that time, and it's like that's choice is yours. But think about the pain I'm going through right now. Would you ever do that? Think about the pain I have to go through. Is it even worth it? I made the mistake. I couldn't quit, and right now I'm going through the struggle. So only way like you don't do that is like looking at and feel the pain I'm feeling. I wouldn't recommend you to have it. You can have it, it's your choice, but will you willing to go through the pain when you're 50 years old, when you're 60 years old? From that on, I never touched a cigarette in my life. And he didn't need to like beat me up or do things like that. That stuck around with me for now is like 19 years now from the conversation we had, and I never had to do that. I had so many stressful moments in my life, and I had all opportunity. I lost both of my parents by age 13, so I lived on my own 2 years, and that was the depression moment ever. I seen all of my friends having a cigarette in the school. They looked cool. When I come to UK, there's having a weed, then having everything. And when I remember the moment, like my dad told me, and I never touched it, so I don't have any interest in it as well. So I think that way is like if you create the upbringing like that, it'll be so much easier. No matter what happening around you, you have like so much discipline. Same with you, like a military, isn't it? Like that way they built you as a human. Probably no before like you had that kind of discipline. Right now you have like a kind of discipline you have. Like you can start any kind of business or any kind of coaching or things like that. You have to be most disciplined compared to someone else like myself, like competing against you because of the 20 years of your experience and that created how you are. So I believe that like how you got brought up in your family,
Yeah. And
that
there,
makes
there
a
are two
difference.
things, three things from your story that I'm gonna take with me. Number one is I'm gonna use your story.
Yeah,
I,
go
I
ahead.
think I think it's fantastic because of these other two things. Number one is your father was intentional.
Yeah,
He didn't wait for it to get brought up. He went out of his way to explain to you. And he didn't say, don't do this. He said, look, this is what it looks like. These are the choices. And kids need that. They need
yeah,
to see the good and the bad, and they need to be given some freedom as they get older. And the other thing is by having that intentional conversation, your father, he created a significant emotional event because 19 years ago, and you remember it today. And I think as parents, we lose focus that we can be intentional and we are creating those moments.
Mm,
And maybe when your child is older, you'll decide to be the dad that has intentional moments. Hey, let's come to the table. Let's talk about this important thing. Well, I'm embarrassed. Maybe let's have a conversation about it. Because when your 2 year old is 12
yeah,
and you're not around and that 12-year old is with friends, we can't stop things.
man.
But if we're intentional beforehand and they know the why, they will keep away from the drugs. They can keep away from the sex. They can keep away from the pornography. They can make good decisions. And that's what we're after, man. I love your story. You remember it very clearly, don't you?
Yeah, and them kind of law stories, like he taught me so many stories because he found out like he's not gonna make it because he was in the last stage of cancer. So he was teaching me everything I needed to know. Like I opened my first business account age 11 as well. And I was running my dad's all the businesses. I was looking after them. I was being homeschooled. I was his carer as well. So I was giving him all of the medication, his cancer medication and everything. I was looking after my mom as well because she wasn't that well. So taking them both in a hospital, going to the doctors and everything. I did that. I learned how to ride a bike age 12 as well. I learned how to drive age 13. So that all not legal. I know that was in Bangladesh. So you can do that stuff over there. So I did so many things like at early age of my life. And yeah, them lessons, to be honest, that stuck around for me and different kind of lessons, and especially with my dad, he comes with like a stories. He doesn't tell you straight away. He comes with like a creative way, so you engage in it and put it on your head properly, and then come closer. It's like you watching a movie.
Yeah, it is. And it sounds like telling a parable, telling a story.
Yeah.
And when people hear that, they're forced to think about it a little bit more. But if I just tell you, don't watch this TV show,
Mm,
okay, Dad, but why? They want to know why.
yeah.
Why not that show? Why don't you want me watching Disney? Why don't you want me to all the LGBTQ, but the transgender stuff? Why don't you want me to listen to that? Tell me why. And
Yeah.
if we don't tell them why, they're going to leave the house and they're going to do some wrong things. Here's a good example that I use for culture is, are you familiar with the Civil War from the United States about slavery?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if somebody was born in the South before the Civil War happened,
Mm,
you and me both, you're not white, I'm not black, or I am white, but if you and I were both born white in that area of the United States at that time, our culture said slavery was right. That's what the culture would have told us. And
yeah.
we would have followed that. No matter what we think today, if we would have been born then,
Yeah.
white people, yes, in Hitler with Nazis, if you
Yeah.
and I would have been born in Germany in the 1930s, we would have been told that our race is superior.
Mm,
For blacks in America, we have videos and pictures of police with big fire hoses hosing down blacks. We had a lot of issues, but based on when and based on where you're born, culture's wrong. And so I think in our modern day culture, fast forward 20, 30, 40 years, they will judge us.
yeah.
I think that our culture is hurting our kids. And so, no better time than now than to sit down with their children at the table and have these tough conversations. That's what our website's for, man. I appreciate you letting me talk about it today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for your time, Luke. We're coming to the end of this podcast. So if anyone wants to learn more about yourself or like get to your program, where's the best place to find you?
If they go to our website, which is these16things.com, they can browse our items. Please sign up for a newsletter. It's free, there's no money. And we love when people send us emails. You'll find our contact. We respond to emails. We love talking to other parents out there. These16things.com.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's been a great pleasure having you on the show. I wish you best of luck with your intention. And thanks for coming today.
Thank you, Russell.
You're most welcome. So, wrap, guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you got some value from it and enjoyed our conversation. If you want to learn more about Luke, his project, go visit his website and yeah, find out more about it. Until then, talk to you in the next episode. Take care.